Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Healing and Wellness for Mothers who have special needs children. And today's topic is parental burnout. And this topic is something which is, discussed very rarely, I believe. It's something that all of us go through. But, our focus generally turns out to be our children. So today's circle is about something many of us experience but rarely say out loud: parental burnout. Okay. Parenting a child with autism, ADHD, or a neurodivergent need often feels like living in a state of constant alertness. Between meltdowns, rigidity, therapy schedules, IEP, meetings, and social stigma, it can feel like there is no pause button, right? What makes it harder is the guilt of getting tired, the guilt of wanting time for yourself, the guilt for not doing enough. And this unspoken pressure often pushes us into survival mode, where we forget what thriving actually looks like, right? I'm sure all of us go through it. And thriving doesn't mean becoming perfect, correct? It means staying connected with your child without losing yourself. And it sounds very difficult. With our children, they have so many needs. And there comes a point where we, tend to lose ourselves. So managing your own emotional regulation so stress doesn't overflow is thriving. Moving from constant firefighting to creating moments of joy, balance, and calm is thriving. When we thrive, our children thrive too. Okay, because a regulated parent creates safety and calm for a child's nervous system. Now, let's talk about what burnout can actually do to parents. Physically, you feel drained, exhausted, and many even notice frequent headaches, body pain, or poor sleep. Emotionally, you may feel numb, irritable, disconnected from your child. Mentally, decision making feels harder. Small challenges feel really overwhelming, and guilt becomes louder. Yeah, because you're supposed to do so many things. There is a huge to-do list, and practically it becomes impossible sometimes to do all of it. And then we try to stack it, then we procrastinate, then all that guilt comes in. So this is important to understand that burnout changes the way we show up for our children. Okay, when we are running on fumes, our patience shrinks and ability to regulate goes down, and we become reactive instead of responsive. And our children especially, they mirror us. You will notice that every time you are in a state where you don't feel calm, where you are anxious, the anxiety of your child goes higher. It becomes tenfold. So when you have one thing to take care of, one thing to worry about, and then your child will create an environment which becomes tenfold. So it's very important to regulate yourself first before jumping onto the child, or before taking care of anything else for that matter, I believe. Now, why choosing yourself matters first is because a lot of us struggle here, right? We put ourselves last while prioritizing our child first, and while prioritizing everything else first. We feel, our cup is, as in we can do it. We tend to stretch ourselves. But the truth is that choosing yourself first is not abandoning your child. Okay, it's actually the most loving thing that you can do. Might sound absurd, but if your cup is not full, how are you going to pour out of it, right? When you are rested, calm, emotionally steady, your child feels safer, and your energy regulates their energy. Think of it as an oxygen mask in an airplane, where they ask you to help yourself first before moving on to your child, or anybody else for that matter. So every time you take a moment for yourself to rest, to breathe, to reset, you're also creating a calmer environment for your child. Self-care is not selfish, it's survival, it's love. Okay, we need to get it. I think we need to keep repeating this thing to ourselves over and over again, because it's very easy to, push yourself back and, try to address somebody else's problem or your child's problem for that matter. Now, is everybody with me on this? I mean, are there any shares? What do you feel about all that? And how do you experience burnout? It's a very interactive session, so you all can turn your cameras on. You can even unmute and share. How do you, how do you face burnout, or how do you take care of yourself when you're completely exhausted? Or do you even realize that, you're experiencing a burnout? Yeah, please go on.
Okay, no, so I was saying I'm experiencing this right now because my son is having a shutdown state and he's also having viral fever. So since past couple of weeks, I would say, I am not able to move out of bed. I'm sleeping a lot, having backache, pain in legs, and I feel like doing nothing at all.
Yeah, so understand that. Yeah.
Today I am better.
Yeah. And how do you manage your burnout, or how do you manage it when you are so exhausted?
I since past 3 years, I am not working, taking care of him, right? So what I do is that I work on Sundays for a few hours. So that helps me somehow.
Okay.
If I do say even 4 5 surgeries, anything, it makes me very happy.
That's
Then
lovely.
I'm able to, like, once a week, and if say for 2 3 weeks I'm not able to do it, then I start getting angry. So many things,
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So, so let me, begin with my story. I mean, not begin, but let me share my story. So when I was in your place, I've already mentioned this. I have twin children, and one child is on the autism spectrum. And my pregnancy was difficult. I was on bed rest. And when one child happened, when they turned 2, I thought of going back to work. I'm actually a qualified computer engineer. But autism happened, and then, I started with therapies. And like, I don't think I got time to absorb ever that what was going on. It was this bed rest, then babies, and then autism, and then we're just going on and on. And after a point, I realized that, I was really irritable, and all my monsters would come out in front of my children. Like I used to go crazy with them. Okay. And then guilt used to be the prominent emotion, because every time I went mad at my children, I felt that I'm doing something really wrong, and I was not able to figure out that, how should I able to control this emotion. So yeah, I realized I needed help, and I went for therapies, and I then came across EFT, and I became a certified practitioner, and I started doing this professionally. But in those moments, I realized that, how if I don't take a pause, how if I don't, prioritize myself, all I'm doing is, vomiting my bullshit on my children and blaming them. And they're not even the reason. I chose them. I wanted them to come into this world. And then, so when you have all this awareness, plus you're doing absolutely something which is totally reverse, like it's not at all in sync with what you think is the right thing to do, then guilt really hits hard. And then, yeah, and then when I started working on myself, I began to realize that, and it seemed impossible at a point to actually uh, take a pause for myself. Our children have so many needs, and by therapists or doctors, we are constantly told that if you don't do this, your child will not improve. If you don't do that, your child might suffer. And so you want to do everything. You want to do everything for the child. And it seems, and sometimes children are so how do I put it, they're so fixated, or they're so used to the routine that we put them through, that it seems impossible to break that chain and push your time for yourself in between everything which is going on. So that's what I don't like. I think a lot of us don't like it, but it kind of becomes what I learned through therapies is how to break that, how to take a pause. And yeah, it used to be challenging when I had to bring a transition, when I had to teach my child. Like for instance, I knew that if I don't feed my child on time, he will have a meltdown. Okay, so even before he used to ask for food, I'd feed him. Okay, and then he assumed that it is my duty to feed him before even he demanding for the food. And when he got into, he became like 10 or 12, he started hitting me really badly because he was not fed on time. Okay, and then I had to draw boundaries. I had to communicate it to him. Sometimes I used to scold him, sometimes I had to explain it to him through pictures or through various methods, that this is not acceptable. It is not my duty to feed you. It is you who needs to come up and ask me for food. And if you're not going to ask that, I'm not going to feed you. You're growing up now. So it took time. There were times when I got really angry. I made it very clear to him that I will not entertain this, and he realized that. Okay, but it doesn't mean that the episodes did not happen. It repeated. But what happened, even when all of this was happening, with a traumatic incident that happened, I did not step back. I would take a pause and then I will come back again. And every time I took a pause, I did not hold myself responsible. I did not get into the guilt trip that, oh my God. But it did not happen in one day, okay? I mean, if I'm speaking of all this, it took me 10 years to understand the whole crux of it, where to take a pause for yourself, where to, prioritize your child, where to let it be if it's not happening the way you want it to be. And so, yeah, so just wanted to share my story, and I would really appreciate if, more some of you would come up and share what is your story like, or how do you struggle. Simi, I understand that you're really confused. It takes time. It is difficult when the diagnosis happen, because there are so many things that we are told to do with the child. But it's also a process where the parent learns how to deal with the child and then teach it to the child. So it goes hand in hand, and it's a lot to process. I don't disagree, but it falls in place, trust me. With time you get the hang of it, and you eventually you start enjoying the process, especially when you come across more people who are in the same boat as you are. And that's the reason I keep encouraging all of y'all to speak more, share more, so that y'all y'all know that y'all are not the only ones who are struggling. There are others also who are in a similar situation, and they might be able to give you a solution to whatever that you're going through. Okay. And if any of you want to connect with me for a one-on-one session, it's a free consultation call for 45 minutes. You all can message me on my WhatsApp and we can do that offline. Okay. So let me just move ahead. If there are any questions, any other shares, just raise your digital hand. And meanwhile, just take a deep breath in. Closing your eyes, take a deep breath in. Notice your body. Notice how much you carry every day. And I want you to hold on to that thought. You're not failing when you rest. You're not selfish when you choose yourself. You're teaching your child how to value themselves by valuing yourself. Okay? Like I said, our children, they mirror us. And if we learn to prioritize ourselves, they will also eventually learn how to take care of themselves, how to become independent, and how to prioritize their needs and not be dependent on anybody else. Okay, as primary caregivers, we become their role models. So it is our duty to do things that we would want them to do for themselves. And parent burnout doesn't disappear overnight. Okay, but with awareness, with compassion, and small amount of daily choices, you can move from surviving to thriving. You cannot pour from an empty cup. This is a very, 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 very common phrase used every time, that you need to keep your cup full. If your cup is empty, you cannot pour through it. And as primary caregivers, it is our duty to, be regulated. And when we feel cared for, our children also blossom. Beautiful. Now, let's do some tapping. For those of you who have joined for the first time, we do some bit of group EFT tapping where we tap on certain meridian points. Okay, so you can follow me and repeat after me the words that I use. Okay, now before we start tapping, I want you all to take a deep breath in through the nose, breathe out through your mouth. Taking another deep breath in through the nose and breathing out. One more time. Taking another deep breath in through the nose, breathing out through your mouth. And just think about all the times when you get completely exhausted and you feel completely burnt out. Okay, just keep thinking about it. And when you're thinking about it, I want you to get a sense of how does it make you feel emotionally? When so many things are going on and it just makes you so overwhelmed or emotionally tired, physically tired, things to do, lot of things to do. Just get a sense of how does it feel emotionally when so many things are going on. And I want you to give it a number on a scale of 1 to 10. So suppose you feel, say, emotionally tired. And sometimes I feel exhausted, sometimes angry. Thank you for sharing, Niharika. I want you to give it a number where 10 is maximum and 1 is minimum. So if you feel exhausted, then how exhausted do you feel? So rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. It could be different for others. If it's exhaustion for Niharika, it could be sadness for some of you. It could be confusion for some of you. So please mention the emotion also that you feel. Lovely. Now I'll start tapping. I want you all to tap with me. Okay, please tap along with me and really appreciate if you can turn your videos on. Please tap along with me and repeat the words after me. Okay, just don't sit and watch because then you will not experience what this process is like. Okay, lovely. Thank you, Kanika. So let me start tapping and I'll be, using your words that you all have shared in the chat. So I might just look there sometimes and then come back to you all over here. And I'd appreciate if you can tap along, take 10 minutes. It won't take too long. Just take 10 minutes, tap, and then you can go back to whatever that you're doing. So I'll begin with the tapping now. Okay. Thank you, Afroz. Now, let's begin. Even though we start by tapping here under the little finger, the side of the hand. Okay. Now repeat after me. Even though, and there is so much chaos that is going on, and when there are so many things that I need to take care of, and it's almost like I am at the burnout stage. I feel exhausted. I feel angry. And I feel helpless. I still choose to love and accept myself. Even though I feel so exhausted, angry, helpless, and guilty, I still choose to love and accept myself. Even though this whole process becomes very irritating for me, I still choose to love and accept myself. Even though I feel angry, really exhausted, confused, helpless, irritated, sometimes anxious, really helpless. And I also feel like numbing it out sometimes. Sometimes wonder, will this ever end? It's really irritating. It's really exhausting. It makes me angry. It makes me guilty. Makes me feel really helpless. Makes me feel really anxious. I wonder if this will ever end. I feel so irritated, exhausted. Sometimes I feel totally numb. There is anger, there is exhaustion, there is irritability, there is confusion, and so much of helplessness. Even though I feel so many things together, I still choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself. Taking a deep breath in through the nose, breathing out through your mouth, and taking a sip of water. I want you to put it on chat again. How does it feel now? How is your emotion now? If it was at an 8 or 9 before, what number would you give it now? Is the emotion still the same? Is it worse, better, or the same? Has it become worse? Or is it the same? Or is it become better than before? And whatever it is, I want you to know it is absolutely fine. So please either unmute and share or put it on chat. It has increased, Arlene, for you, it has increased. Okay. So if it has increased, dear, it means that, that emotion needs to come out. I want you to keep tapping, Arlene. Tap under the eye, under the collarbone, and under the arms, and keep tapping in this sequence for some time. This will calm you down. So every time we feel this overwhelm, when we are not able to get a hold of our emotions, you can follow the sequence, tapping under the eye, under the collarbone, under the arm, and just keep doing it till you feel a bit settled. Okay, lovely. So I want you all to put now, how do you feel now? Like, are you still feeling as bad, or what what is the difference now? Calm, okay, better, lovely. Less exhausted, feeling calmer. What other emotions? Just put your emotions over there. Calmer and much relaxed. Lovely. Less tense. Yeah. That's because we are addressing what we are feeling. We're not running away from it. We are facing it, right? I feel relaxed. That's good to know. Relief. Okay. All right, let's do this other round of tapping. Okay. Even though there is so much that I need to deal with, there's a huge list of to-do things. And it gets really overwhelming and exhausting almost every time. And every time I tend to feel exhausted, irritated, or angry, anxious, and multiple feelings that don't make me feel good inside me. And it also doesn't allow me to be present towards my child. I still choose to love and accept myself. Even though it's really irritating when you understand everything that you need to do, but either your body does not cooperate or people around you don't cooperate, or it just takes a lot of time to execute all those things together. And I'm just one human being. And how I wish that I could do all of it all by myself. and how I wish that I could become a supermom who could do anything just like that. But the fact is that I do get exhausted. I do lose myself in the process. And I get really irritated. Suppose somehow, in all the chaos, I could take a pause for myself. I could prioritize myself. I could choose to relax. And every time when I put in certain efforts and I don't get the desired results, I could still feel relieved that I at least tried. Suppose somehow I could be in this calm state at all times. Suppose somehow I could release the tension away. Suppose somehow I could just be relaxed. I could choose relaxation for me. I could choose calmness for myself. I could be less tensed and more calm, less exhausted and more energetic, and still appreciate myself for whatever that I do and love and accept myself anyway. Taking another deep breath in through the nose, breathing out with the ha sound. Taking a sip of water. I would like you all to share, how does it feel now? Relieved. Thank you for sharing. Better. Good. So, Niharika, if you have like a lot of anger, sometimes our body holds on to the anger. It's not that you're angry all the time, but every time you think about certain incidences that, trigger the anger in you, bottled up anger, correct. So there are certain exercises that you can do. One is tantrum release. If you remember the first time we had done it, like just make it a daily routine. Just do it because that will, even if you're not angry, it'll release a lot. Okay. And you can also hold your middle finger. So middle finger actually holds the emotion of anger. So hold the middle finger minimum for a minute or till you feel the pulse, and maximum for 20 minutes. And then you can use all positive affirmations around anger, that I release my anger now. I am in a calm state of mind. You can do that. You can do this while going to sleep. It really helps. Okay. The third is while going to sleep, you know where your liver is, right? It's under your right breast for us, right? So you can keep your hand there or tap, because liver tends to store a lot of anger. Okay. All your suppressed anger is stored in liver. So you can either tap on your liver, like, I don't know if it's visible. So like tap on the liver like that, or just put your hand like this and go to sleep. While going to sleep, just put your hand on the liver and then you can go to sleep. So it'll release a lot of anger from the liver meridian. What else can you do? So yeah, every time you get angry, like generally, if anger pumps in, you're getting a lot of thoughts and you're getting angry, just take a piece of paper, write on everything that you feel angry about. Okay. Everything that's coming to your mind, just write it raw without, trying to modify it, trying to make it better or sound better. Just put it down with all sorts of bad words, bad things, everything that comes to your mind, and then read it out and tap on all the points that even though I'm, this happened, that happened, they did this, I did this is not right, that is not right. Just tap it out, read it and tap it out. And in like 2 to 3 rounds, I think you should feel calmer, and then just tear it off and throw it away. Okay. It's not something to be preserved. We want it out, better out than in, right? No need to carry it within. Lovely. Any questions? Any other things you want to share? You want to ask? So great. I'll end it here then. And like I mentioned, if anybody wants to get in touch for one-on-one personal 45-minute session, then please connect with me over WhatsApp and we can schedule it for you. Okay. It was nice connecting. Yeah. Thank you, Shilpa. Thank you for joining. And I'll see you all on next Sunday. And please pass it on to other parents, other mothers. Lovely. Thank you so much for joining today. Okay. I'll see you all on next Sunday. And please share the link as much as possible. We want more and more parents to join in. All right. Thank you so much.